Trust me when I say this, woke Hollywood did not see this coming.
2016, Eddie Griffin said, if Trump wins, I'm moving to Africa. Apparently very slowly, because in Trump's 4 years, he only got as far as Van Nuys. George Lopez once said that if Trump won, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back. George Lopez still here. And it doesn't look like the migrant traffic is going back. Gosh, it almost seems like the world is full of suffering, intolerance, and oppression on a scale we can't imagine. But that can't be true, because if it was, we'd be protesting it. It must only happen in Israel. And if, for your exile, you do wind up in some comparatively luxurious place like Canada or Japan or the UK, not that they want you, at best, you'll be trading a bunch of stuff you hate about this country for a bunch of stuff you'll soon hate about your new home.
Bill Maher has just taken a brutal swipe at woke Hollywood and political elites. And honestly, it's something you have to see to believe. Remember all those celebrities who loudly promised they'd leave the country if Trump got elected? Well, it's been 2 years, and guess what? They're still here. And Maher, he didn't hold back. His takedown was sharp, direct, and absolutely ruthless. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because this is where things get interesting.
Run for office in America, you have to want to live here. I bring this up because there was a video that made the rounds recently by a woman who said she was a proud progressive and was running for state representative in New Hampshire, and yet posted this.
Is there a place we can move that people would be happy to have us, that we're not gentrifying or colonizing? I don't want to be a problem, but I need to get the out of this country.
The out of this country? The one you want to be elected to a leadership position in? What was your campaign slogan? America, a shining on it.
How many times have we seen politicians, especially on the Democratic side, dramatically claim they want to leave the country only to remain deeply embedded in positions of power? It's a contradiction that's hard to ignore. On one hand, they describe America as a nation in decline, filled with problems they claim are unbearable. On the other, they continue to benefit from the very system they criticize. That's where critics see hypocrisy. The argument isn't that America is perfect, it's that the portrayal is often exaggerated. In the effort to make Trump and the GOP look as unfavorable as possible, the rhetoric becomes more emotional than factual. It shifts from honest discussion to narrative building, amplifying flaws while downplaying strengths.
Now, does America have big problems? Yes, I've often cited the America sucks list. Things like being 54th in the world in infant mortality behind Cuba, 19th in literacy behind Russia, 72nd in female representation in government behind Iraq. A lot of work to do here. And is it possible for a country to lose itself so much that leaving it is justified? Yes, but we're not there yet, not by a long shot, and we don't need quitters. We need people who will stay and fix it. Maybe the problem isn't that America isn't worth defending. Maybe the problem is that lots of people today are entitled whiners who have no perspective and no idea how good they are.
Maher doesn't dance around the issue. He goes straight for the jugular. He calls out politicians who make these dramatic claims and labels them exactly what he thinks they are: entitled complainers. And to many, that critique lands. There's a clear disconnect in constantly tearing down a country while enjoying the privileges that come with leading it. The reality is, the United States didn't become a global powerhouse by accident. Yes, it has flaws, every country does, but it also has one of the most influential democratic systems, a massive economy, and global influence that continues to attract millions seeking better opportunities. So when leaders exaggerate,
9% of self-identified liberals say there have been times when they considered leaving America for good, like after NBC canceled The West Wing. I don't get it. You want so badly for every immigrant to come to this country and experience the good life, but somehow it's so terrible you want to leave?
And here's where the contradiction becomes even more obvious. On one side, many liberals advocate for open border policies, pushing inclusion, opportunity, and making America more accessible to those seeking a better life. They actively promote the idea that this country is worth coming to. But on the other side, some of those same voices talk about wanting to leave entirely. So which is it? If the country is truly as bad as it's sometimes portrayed, why encourage others to come? And if it's still a land of opportunity, why the urge to walk away? According to Maher, this isn't just political disagreement, it points to something deeper. And what he suggests next might actually surprise you.
There's a long list of liberal celebrities who swear they'll go if a Republican is elected, and no one ever does. Miley Cyrus once said, "I am moving if Trump is my president. I don't say things I don't mean." Here she is looking miserable, having to endure America at the Grammys last.
As for celebrities, well, that's a whole different story. Too often, they seem to echo whatever political narrative is trending without adding much independent thought. When a woke cause takes off, they jump on board. When politicians paint a bleak picture of the country, they amplify it just as loudly. And that's where the frustration comes in. With massive platforms and influence, you'd expect nuance, critical thinking, not just repetition. Instead, it can feel like a cycle of imitation, where public figures repeat talking points rather than challenge them. And if you think Maher is done calling that out, he's just getting started.
I guess she flew back from Tajikistan. In 2016, Eddie Griffin said, "If Trump wins, I'm moving to Africa." Apparently very slowly, because in Trump's 4 years, he only got as far as Van Nuys. George Lopez once said that if Trump won, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back. George Lopez still here. And it doesn't look like the migrant traffic is going back.
Critics like Maher argue that for many celebrities, the mission seems simple: make Trump look as bad as possible, no matter what. But what really raises eyebrows is the inconsistency. Under Democratic administrations, even during controversial moments, many of these same voices stay quiet or even supportive. Yet the moment Trump or the GOP enters the conversation, the rhetoric escalates fast. Words like fascism and authoritarianism start flying. To critics, that doesn't look like balanced criticism. It looks like selective outrage, where political bias shapes the narrative more than consistent standards. And that's exactly what Maher is.
Telling Americans things like,
I think the new American dream is to leave.
I'm 18 years old and I escaped America.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to escape America. That wall we're always debating isn't to keep you in. The New Republic just ran a story about the vulnerable minorities who want to flee America, including the author, a gay man trapped in the dystopian homophobic hellscape that is New York City. I wonder if he knows that there are 66 countries where just being gay is a crime.
It's honestly hard not to laugh when some people claim they want to escape America, as if they're being forced to stay. This isn't North Korea or Nazi Germany, where leaving can come with serious consequences. In the United States, if you truly want to leave and have the means, you can. There are no walls keeping people in, which makes these dramatic declarations feel less like genuine intent and more like political theater. Because in a country with freedom of movement, the real issue isn't leaving, it's following through.
It almost seems like the world is full of suffering, intolerance, and oppression on a scale we can't imagine. But that can't be true, because if it was, we'd be protesting it. It must only happen in Israel. And if, for your exile, you do wind up in some comparatively luxurious place like Canada or Japan or the UK, not that they want you. At best, you'll be trading a bunch of stuff you hate about this country for a bunch of stuff you'll soon hate about your new home.
Here's the reality people often overlook. Scroll through travel magazines or social media, and every country looks like paradise. Perfect beaches, clean streets, effortless luxury. It's a curated image designed to sell a dream. But what you don't see matters just as much. Every country has its own struggles, economic challenges, political tensions, cultural barriers, and limits on personal freedom. Those parts don't make the highlight reel. So while other places may look flawless on the surface, the full picture is always more complicated.
4 days in Amsterdam to learn that while I admire Amsterdam, I don't want to live there. The buildings are cramped and shaped like needles. The food is awful. The TV's in a different language. It's wet and cold. The people are polite but cold, and they do a bunch of weird shit. The explanation for, according to my friend, was just remember they're hot.
In the end of the day, there's still no place quite like America. And deep down, even many of its harshest critics seem to know that. They've traveled, they've seen how other systems work, and they understand that reality doesn't always match the image. That's why, despite all the talk about leaving, very few actually do. Because it's one thing to complain and another to walk away from a system that still offers opportunity, stability, and familiarity. When it comes down to it, the hesitation says more than the rhetoric ever could.
This makes the list of great expat destinations because of all those stories on CNN about how you can buy a house in a quaint Italian village for $1. Except it's not a house in the way we think of one as a structure with plumbing and electricity and a roof. When these places were built, the Leaning Tower of Pisa was still straight.
In the end, what Bill Maher is really pointing out isn't just political, it's about consistency. You can't constantly call a country broken, claim it's unbearable, and still choose to stay without raising questions. That doesn't mean America is perfect, far from it. But it does mean the conversation should be grounded in honesty, not exaggeration. Because if the country truly had nothing to offer, leaving would be the obvious choice. Yet time and time again, the loudest critics stay, benefiting from the very system they condemn. And maybe that's the real takeaway. Beneath all the noise, there's an unspoken truth. Despite its flaws, America is still a place many aren't willing to walk away from.